Hey folks, this is Kalani. The War Within Prepatch is finally here, and it introduces a large chunk of the War Within expansion's massive changes, including warbands, which give you far more account-wide progress and control. There are many user interface changes to explore and get used to, the big class changes and reworks are here, and there are so many features and systems that were overhauled or made significantly better. We also still have time to get some end of expansion goals completed, and there's a new event coming our way as well. So let's go through everything there is to do in Prepatch and what you should do first to avoid missing out on some very important rewards. Now before we jump in, be sure to hit up that like button and subscribe so you never miss another video. One of the first things you're going to want to get done is complete the Warbanding Together questline. This should pop up whenever you first log in, but if it doesn't, you should be able to find it under the Warbands quest tab, or just search for Warbands in your quest log search box. This quest takes you down to Tanaris and Gadget's End, where you'll meet Blue and her warband. The questline is pretty quick and easy, but it's probably one of the most important things you'll want to get done before the expansion releases, as it's going to reward you with the Warband Bank Distance Inhibitor, which gives you remote access to your Warband Bank. Very useful indeed. You can dump gathering materials or withdraw gold or other items without having to visit a bank, so whether you're out in the world, in the middle of a raid or dungeon, or maybe just outside the city but still too lazy to go find a bank, you can access your Warband Bank from anywhere. That's going to be huge for all kinds of players, and with this being a Warband wide quest, you only have to do it once, so be sure you get this questline completed whenever you can. Now speaking of warbands, almost the entire warband system was implemented with this prepatch, so we can spend the next month or so getting used to the new account-wide focused progress instead of the character-specific progress that we've had up until now. The cool thing about warbands is that it should all happen in the background when you log in for the first time, so you don't have to log into each character individually. Everything is just going to get processed behind the scenes, which is really nice. One of the largest changes relevant to Dragonflight is that you should find all of your renown levels will now match your highest renown level achieved on any of your characters. So if you maxed out renown on one character, all of your other characters will have it maxed out by default, so you can then pick up any of those rewards that you might want. This is how renown will work in the War Within, by the way, total account-wide progress, so you never have to grind systems twice, which is going to be a great change. Some currencies are now transferable across your account as well. The easiest way to check which ones you can transfer is to open up your currency tab and then just hover over each currency. If you see this red campfire icon to the left hand side, that means it's going to be transferable. This isn't just for War Within currencies or the Dragonflight currencies. Things like time warped badges could be useful to transfer and combine on one character to purchase the expensive mounts much easier, and then there are a lot of older currencies that you might want to take a look at just in case you go back to older expansions and want to do some collecting or achievement hunting. Something else that seems to be account-wide now are your unlocked dungeon teleport spells, so if you manage to get those achievements done and teleport spells unlocked, all of your characters can now use them instead of just the one who earned them. Even your max level time running characters will have them unlocked, even though we can't use them yet. You can now also unlock the Warband Bank. Just pop by the bank in any city and you should find the new Warband Bank tab. It will cost you a bit of gold to unlock your first tab, and each tab after that will cost increasingly more gold, but getting just a few tabs will massively expand your overall storage, and this bank can be accessed and used by any of your characters, so you can deposit almost anything in here for all of your characters to use. You can also deposit gold if you want all of your characters on your account to have access to your gold, so that's an easy way to transfer it between characters without having to mail it back and forth. And then you can also craft from materials that are in your Warband Bank. So if you have an army of alts, you can just put all of your materials into your Warband Bank, and then all of your characters can craft directly from it, which is a huge quality of life improvement. So unlock your Warband Bank and start thinking about how you want to set it up and which items and materials you might want to keep in there. As of right now, there does seem to be a problem with the Warband Bank, so it is currently disabled. If you get this error message, don't worry, everyone has the same thing, but I imagine they'll fix this within a couple of days, so keep an eye on your bank. I'm sure we'll have access to it before too long. The pre-patch also changed a lot of user interface elements and moved some things around. So for starters, you can now dragon ride, or sky ride as it will be called going forward, with almost any flying mount. So that flying option is now available to way more mounts, and old mounts are no longer steady flying by default. You have to actually actively swap between the flying options, and you can do that with a new button at the top of your mount journal. You can swap back and forth pretty freely, so if you ever get tired of sky riding or need the finer control of steady flying, you can just activate that whenever you want. Your dragon riding talents have also moved to a button in the same place at the top of your mount journal, so if you're struggling to find those for whatever reason, that's how you can open that window now. In here you can also turn on or off your passenger settings to let people ride along with you, so you no longer have to go visit a dragon riding trainer to do that, or you can also swap between Whirling Surge and Lightning Rush, so you can use whichever you prefer on any mount. The spellbook has moved into the talent window and it's going to be a lot bigger, so if you can't find your spells anymore, that is where they have moved to. You may have also heard about a new camera option to reduce the collision with terrain and let your camera move a bit smoother. This seems to be turned on by default, but if you are still having problems with your camera, you can type /console space camera indirect visibility and then 1 in square brackets. I'll have that on screen for you, and I'll try pop that in the comment section below just so it's a bit easier to copy over. You can now also look at different classes transmog and different armor types in your transmog collection, so instead of just being locked to the items and appearances your current character can use, you can now see basically your entire collection by swapping around the classes, so that's a nice little addition. On the topic of transmog, the big transmog collecting changes came through as well, so you can now unlock transmog for almost any piece of gear that drops, so it doesn't matter if you can't use it, you can now unlock it for other characters to use. So if you're a bit bored and looking for something to do, farming transmog just became a whole lot easier and faster. Now when you first log in into any character, you'll probably notice all of your talents have been reset, and your talent trees will look a bit different. Most of your preset talent loadouts won't work anymore either, so you're going to have a bit of work to do to get all this set up again. The pre-patch included all of the huge class changes for the War Within expansion, so you want to take some time and reacquaint yourself with the talents, spells and abilities, and see what's changed. Some classes got overhauled and reworked, while others are quite similar to Dragonflight, so now is the perfect time to tinker around with whatever changes came through for your classes, see if you still like and enjoy your class and spec and how it plays, and start thinking about which character you might want to main in the new expansion and which ult you might want to play as well. It's worth noting that you can still work on some end of expansion goals. Quite a lot of achievements are still available, and some stuff was actually made a bit easier. All 3 raids are now going to be awakened at the same time and will remain that way until the expansion launches. So if you want the Voyaging Wilderling mount, the Awakened Hero title, or the Dragonflight raid teleports, you can still earn all of those rewards by completing the Awakened raids on Normal, Heroic and Mythic respectively, and with all 3 raids always being awakened now, you don't have to wait for the raid rotation to come around to get the last few boss kills you need. The same goes for Mythic Plus. You can still earn the Draconic title, the Infinite Armadon mount, and all of the dungeon teleports for the Dragonflight dungeons. So if you don't have any of that yet, but you really want to get it done, you have about until the expansion launches to collect all of these goodies. The pre-patch also included the huge leveling changes, which vastly reduced the experience required to get to level 70, which makes leveling incredibly fast right now. There are already posts of people leveling from 10 to 70 in the remix event in just over an hour, so if you want to get some ult leveled up, now is the perfect time to get your ult army all shipshape and ready to go. And remember that the Mists of Pandaria event is still going for a while. You've got until just before the expansion launches to level up, earn some bronze, and unlock all of those transmogs. So if you've done everything in retail for now and you're a little bit bored, maybe pop by Remix and unlock a few more rewards. Now you may be wondering where the new story quest is, or how to take part in the new Radiant Echoes event. Sadly, we'll have to wait a little bit longer for that pre-patch content, as it only starts up on July 30th, so that stuff will become available next week. It is worth noting that to start the new quest, the Visions of Azeroth, you will need to have completed the Harbinger storyline, so if you haven't done that yet, you should get it squared away before next week so you can jump into the new content and event with everyone else. The event itself is very straightforward. 3 zones are going to be empowered by the Radiant Echoes, and you can find which zone is currently active by checking your world map. The zones will rotate every 90 minutes, and when a new zone becomes active, it will have a larger event present, so you want to head over to the new zone as it swaps over, and that's where you'll find the real event. There are a few different stages to the event, so keep an eye on your map to see where you can go next to contribute to your service efforts and earn some of the new event currency. This all comes together with a mini-boss battle, and then after that the zone kinda calms down for a bit until the next zone switch over, where the event will start all over again. Each zone will also have a daily quest for you to pick up, which rewards you with a big chunk of the event currency, so be sure you're picking up these daily quests before you take part in the event. You'll be able to spend your new currency in Dalaran, and you'll be able to buy catch-up gear, some mounts and pets, there's an heirloom ring that you have to piece together, and a few other goodies. We'll go over the event in more detail next week when it becomes available. But that's everything you can do in the pre-patch for the War Within, and what we would recommend you do first. What are you going to be working on in the run-up to the War Within expansion? How do you feel about the pre-patch changes we've seen so far? Leave all your thoughts in the comment section below. A big thank you to all of our supporters over on Patreon and to all of our members here on YouTube. You can see the names floating by on screen. If you're interested in supporting the channel, you can find links in the description, or click the join button just below the video. If you enjoyed the video or found it useful in any way, make sure to subscribe and ring that notification bell so you're always kept up to date. Thanks for watching, folks, good luck and have fun, and as always I will see you next time.